What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. We got this really much needed update on the Mach 1. And I kind of really want to touch base on this because there's been a lot of information that's not, complete out there. No one really knows what's going on, but I have some people that I've talked to that have a little extra knowledge on the Mach 1 that's coming back with Ford and exactly, what is realistic to, talk as far as specs or to dream of or wishful thinking. Now, normally I wait for everybody to get in here, but I'm going to try to move it along so that the people who are not in the live chat can also enjoy the video without having too much of a delay. What's up, Joseph? What's up, Destroyer Scat Pack? So I'm going to get right to it right now. So this is what's actually going on. The Mach 1, a lot of people are saying, hey, the Mach 1's coming back and it's going to have 480 horsepower and it's pretty much going to be the same thing as the Bullitt. This is most likely incorrect, and I'll explain to you guys why. The Mach 1 has never shared the same power plant or as far as power, has never shared the same power output as the Bullitt. And we can do this by looking back and touching base on a few specs with the Bullitt. So we have the 2002 Bullitt, which produced 265 horsepower. The regular Mustang GT produced 260. So we know that the Bullitt only produced 5 more horsepower than the regular Mustang GT. Fast forward to 2005, and the 2005 through 2009 Mustang, or 2010 Mustang GT, produced 300 horsepower, and the Bullitt produced 310. So it was only 10 extra horsepower. Now, if we look at the Mach 1, when it came back in 2003, it produced 305 horsepower versus the 265 of the Bullitt. They are definitely not going to bring the Mach 1 back with 480 horsepower. It's extremely unlikely, and according to my sources, is not going to happen. So I guess that leaves the question, then what are they going to do? Well, let's look at the numbers here. The difference in horsepower from the 2002 Bullitt to the 2003 Mach 1 was from 265 to 305. It was 40 horsepower difference. What is the difference between the Bullitt Mustang right now, the 2020 Bullitt, versus the 2020 Shelby GT350? You guessed it, 46 horsepower. Only 6 horsepower more than the difference between the 2002 Bullitt and the 2003 Mach 1, meaning that the 2021 Mach 1 is most likely going to have 30 to 40 more horsepower than the Bullitt, which is going to put it as a direct replacement or an indirect replacement for the Shelby GT350. Now, the GT350 name badge they're saying is coming to an end. There's also rumors that it may not end, but it pretty much is over because their licensing agreement ended in 2020. I guess they could extend it if they wanted. I don't know. That's a different topic for a different day. But the reality of the situation is the Mach 1's not going to come back and live in the Bullitt's shadow. That's never happened before. And they're living, Ford's producing these cars and living in the past. They're doing it in the same order that they've done this before. They've also done it in the 70s. The Mach 1 always makes more power than the Bullitt, always. They're not going to release the Mach 1 with 480 horsepower. Maybe it'll be 500, maybe it'll be 505, maybe it'll be 520. We don't know, but what I am being told is that it's going to have more than the Bullitt, a decent amount more, meaning that they're going to be looking at 500-ish, easy. I would honestly sit here and say that I'd be completely shocked if this car had less than 500 or 505. I anticipate 505 because that's pretty much, with the 305. Hold on, I'm on the internet. So the 305 of the Mach 1 Mustang, I'm thinking that it's going to be 505 horsepower because not only does that correlate with 305, it also correlates with 40 more horsepower than the Mach 1, or not quite, but close. And that's the direction that they're going in. Now, it's hard to say the exact horsepower, but I will tell you that my sources are telling me that it's going to have more than the Bullitt, and that's pretty much all but a guaranteed fact. So We're going to have to sit around and wait to see exact horsepower numbers. But like I said, guys, it's most likely going to be 500 or 505. That's what it's looking at. I originally was thinking that the Mach 1 would be more like 550, which I guess at this point in time might be possible. But I'm not 100% sure exactly. We can look at the photos right here of the old Mach 1, and it talks about how it had a 375 horsepower offering in 71, but it went down to 140 and then down to 105, which was absolutely horrible for the horsepower war when it died back in 1971. But when we look at the spy photos of the Mach 1, we can see that it talks about the 480 horsepower Bullitt. I do not want to, lead with incorrect information. And I think that explaining to anybody that this car is going to have the same power as the Bullitt not only is incorrect, it also makes zero sense. Zero sense whatsoever, because the Bullitt has always been the underpowered Mustang when compared to the Mach 1. The Mach 1 always makes more power. Ford's not going to put this much work into the Mach 1 to give it 5 horsepower or to give it 3 extra horsepower. So it's safe to say with technology evolving, the engines that Ford has at their disposal and the things that Ford are doing, that it's going to be most likely, like I said, 500 horsepower, 495, 505. It's going to be right at the 500 horsepower mark. Also note the dual exhaust in the back. This is going to be a little bit different than what people think it is. Power-wise, I think we're underestimating the power on the car, that it's going to be quite a bit higher than anybody thinks it's going to be, and it's most likely not going to come in a manual only. We might actually get an automatic, but what I'm hearing is that the car itself is probably going to be a manual, just like the GT350 and Bullitt. But we might have an option for an auto, is what I've heard. I wouldn't hold my breath on that, though. I really wouldn't. As far as the Mach 1 as a whole, though, I think the suspension is going to be, it's going to get some crossover stuff, or not crossover, but kind of like leftover part spin from the 350. I would expect to see the Magna Ride go on it. Going to have the same, similar, not same, but similar suspension setup to the GT350 maybe. It'll get some things brought over from the 350. As you can see, the spoiler is the same as the GT500, GT350. It's pretty safe to say that a lot of the suspension components are going to come over from the Shelbys to kind of, maybe not all of them, but there's going to be some upgrades with this car versus the regular Mustang GT. It's going to be like in between the Shelby GT350 and GT, sort of like a Bullitt, but its own DNA and more power. So we're going to have to sit back and really wait to see all the illicit details that Ford puts out. But like I said, guys, what I think we're going to be seeing here, and this goes off of what I've heard from the people that work for Ford and the guys that, live in the Detroit area and have been taking these spy photos, as well as my history with Ford and have owned 4 different Mustangs. And of course, what we've learned from the past, we're going to see a Mustang that's going to have GT350 suspension components, not all of them, but some. We're going to see a 6-speed transmission, probably a Tremec 3160, the same that's in the GT350.
Look at that Mustang.
We're going to see horsepower. My son's watching the video too.
But
hold on. So we're going to be seeing probably about 505 horsepower is what I would say in this car, along with different wheels, which you can already see in the photos. And maybe a different deck lid that's going to say Mach 1. There's no decals or vinyl on this car, but I would expect to see all the specs that I just showed you, that we're going to be looking at 505 horsepower, upgraded suspension, 6-speed, good handling, lightweight. I'd expect to see it 3,700 pounds, just like the Mustang GT or GT350. So it's really not going to be a different car. You want to say something, buddy?
What?
You want to say something?
Yep.
What do you want to say?
So, this Mustang's awesome. Can you get one of those Mustangs?
I will. I probably will, honestly. I wanted a Mach 1 when it first came out, but I got a GT350. So maybe we'll go with the GT500.
Wait, I have idea.
What do you have an idea about?
Maybe you can watch and go all the way to the Mustang garage and tell the guy to get that and ask if that would be $2. And that would be $2 for some reason.
You think I'll get it for $2?
Yes.
I wish. Maybe we'll send you to go negotiate. Maybe you could go negotiate on a new Mach 1 for Driveway Demons.
And then that Mustang is also at your house. You have 2 Mustangs at your house.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It really would. It'd be nice to have a Mach 1.
And then you can get the orange one.
Yeah. Do you like the Mustang better or do you like the Hellcat better?
And then you can get the black one and the blue one.
Well, we talked about the orange one, remember? The GT500?
You're getting it right now.
Well, I wish I could. But what do you think's better? The Mustang or the Hellcat?
The Mustang and the Hellcat and the truck.
Oh, so you like them equally?
And then
He likes them all the same.
and Daddy, and you can get like a silver one.
I maybe I will get a silver car. I haven't actually owned a silver car, I don't think. Yeah, in my whole life I never have.
And then you can get like this color.
That's like almost like a light cyan blue. Sort of. It's sort of.
And then you can
My son loves cars a lot.
and then you can get like this color.
That's a good color. It's almost like the orange for the GT500. Very close. The Voodoo is pretty much going to go out with the GT350, although it would be nice to see the Voodoo in the Mach 1. I don't think they're going to do that, but it would be nice. But like I said, I think we're looking at a car that's going to be about 3,600 pounds, 6-speed transmission, GT350 suspension, most of the suspension from the 350, maybe even
And then
almost all of it if Ford wants to do that, and 505 horsepower.
And then you can get like this color, yellow.
Oh, yellow. Yellow's nice.
Yeah, you can get yellow.
So what do you guys think? I'm thinking that we're going to be looking at 500 horsepower, though. That's the one thing I'm very sure on because I spoke to guys that live in Detroit area and that actually work at the factory. I have a handful of guys that are sending me all kinds of information all the time. And it looks like we're going to be getting that. And the reason, too, to think about this even further is that Ford is really good at making 100 horsepower per liter, and the 5.0 producing 505 horsepower would be the same as the Voodoo making 526.
Daddy.
Yeah.
And then you can get a gray one right now.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, you can get a gray one.
Yeah, it's gonna definitely be a great car. I think it's gonna be good. I don't think I would choose it over a GT350, but
Daddy. And then you can get like this color. Yeah, that's gross.
See, that's like an orange color, like a deep golden kind of bronzy orange. But I can't say I'd take it over a GT350, but like I said.
And Daddy. And you can get a white one.
All right. White one it is. Look at your shirt. Look at the volcano.
Yep.
So what's up, Arnie? So like I said, I think that we'll see 500 for many reasons. Not only have I been told that, but I think that we're going to see 500 simply because it's a 5.0 and Ford wants to do that kind of thing.
Daddy.
It'll make history with this car.
Daddy.
Yeah.
And you can get a purple Mustang. And then
A purple one?
And then you can get a red Mustang.
I already have a green one.
And Daddy.
Yeah.
And then you can get. I would get.
He's such a car lover. 4 years old and loves cars. Can't ask for anything better. What's up, Eli? So yeah, I mean, we could see more than 500 horsepower, but I'm thinking 505 is where we're going to be at. So 505 makes sense. It could very well be a detuned GT500. You could get one supercharged, but I don't know. I think that'd be too much competition for the GT500. I really think that we're going to be looking at 505 realistically, or 500. That's where I think it's going to be at. It'll be the first Mustang besides the GT350. Actually, it'll be the first non-Shelby Mustang to break 500 naturally aspirated. So it's very likely that 500 or 505 is what we're going to be looking at. It's very likely. So if Ford releases this car with less than 500, I don't see it selling unless it's like a pure enthusiast. That's really where it's going to sell if the power doesn't increase where it should. So we'll look at that being a possibility. I mean, anything's a possibility, but I think that likelihood is low. I can't imagine Ford wasting the nameplate to bring back an oversold Mustang of the past, like say, the Bullitt, and just be the same and just change the nameplate. I can't imagine that being the case. It really can't. 527 would be good. Personally, I think more power than the GT350 would make sense, but who knows? Ivan Drago, what's up, man? Yeah, I have seen the PP2, but I don't think this is going to be a PP2 I think they're going to really have to fit this a little bit better. And it's not just about handling pack or a little extra power. A 485 doesn't make any sense. If they're going to make the Mach1 and they're going to get this car to sell, I just don't see 485 doing it. Anybody who wants 485 horsepower, all they have to do is go buy a used GT350 or a used Bullitt.
And you can get a gold Mustang.
Yep.
Yeah.
No one's gonna go spend money on a Mach1 for just badges and a few little things. The power has got to change. Yep.
And you can get with this color.
That's brown.
And you can get brown. That's all you want.
Yep, I'm trying my best, Orange Crush, to bring what I've been told and kind of infuse that with what I think is going to happen. But I'm being told more power than the Bullitt. That's what I've been told. More power than the Bullitt for sure. I just don't know the exact number. But like I said, 500 is literally the number Ford needs to put out. It's only 20 more than the Bullitt. It's very achievable. All they have to do is get a better intake, a better throttle body, higher flowing, maybe change the cam profiles, maybe more lift or more duration, maybe change the stroke, which they're not going to do because that's going to cost too much money. All they really need to change is the intake side of things to get 20 horsepower, and it could make 500.
Daddy, and
yeah?
you can get a rainbow Mustang.
Rainbow? No. A rainbow Mustang.
Yeah, get rainbow Mustang.
I think the best bet here to hope for is 500 or 505, like I said, which can be very achievable. All they really have to do is just change a few little things. Cam profiles, lift duration, maybe a throttle body, the runners on the intake manifold, the intake itself, maybe a higher flow exhaust, maybe higher flow headers. They don't got to change really a whole lot. 20 horsepower is pretty easy to achieve. It's definitely easy to do from a standpoint of how much, engineering Ford has in the performance development team. They can make 500 quite easily with the 5.0. They really can. They've already done it with the 5.2, so it's not that hard to do it with the 5.0. I think the car, if it becomes a bolt-on, anybody who thinks this is going to be a bolt-on performance pack to Mustang GT, then you have to understand if Ford does that, it's not going to sell. And that's why the Mustang has lost the GT350. And that's the reason why they're getting rid of the Bullitt, due to not only the fact that they're losing the rights that they've run out, like the legality portion of it, but Mustangs aren't selling as good as they did. They're not selling as good as they did 5 years ago. And you can blame that to SUVs and also Dodge's high horsepower muscle cars. There's a lot of things that are affecting the sales of Mustangs. And if this is going to be a Mustang GT with badges and just a few little extras, it's not going to sell. And if it does, it won't sell as good as it did 20 years ago, which is the point. The Mustang Mach1 needs to stand alone. It has to. If Ford is going to bring back the Mach1 truly, it needs to stand alone. It cannot be a GT with badges, which is bolt-ons. That's not going to work. And the Bullitt, you could say, was a GT with bolt-ons, but it was different enough. The Bullitt was different enough because it made 20 more horsepower and it had exclusive trim and color. The Mach1 ran, it ran 2003, 2004 side by side with the Shelby GT500. And here we are yet again running side by side with the GT500. I just hope the GT500 lasts longer than it did last time. It wasn't a GT500 at the time, it was a Cobra, but whatever. It's the same thing. But there was a lot of things different about it either way. And like I said, if they release this Mach1 as a bolt-on PP2 Mustang GT or a bolt-on badged Bullitt, I personally would have zero interest in it. Zero. Yeah. Okay. I would have zero interest in it whatsoever. There's no way, even as much as I love Mustangs, there's no way I would ever go to the dealership and buy a Mach1 just because it had Mach1 badges. There's no way. I don't care about that. It has to have something different. Like I said, the Bullitt I would buy because it's got more power than the GT. The GT350 is a no-brainer. I already bought it. GT500 is a no-brainer. If Mach1 was only going to be badges, most purists wouldn't buy it. They just wouldn't do it. And that's only going to hurt the Mustang sale. Yes, could be a PP2 with a shaker, but that's where the difference comes into effect here, is that the shaker itself adds horsepower, usually 10 or 15, depending on the car, which puts it back at 490, 495. So like I said, 500 horsepower. You have to put that in the bathroom. So we're going to be looking at 500 horsepower, like I said, with a shaker. It's very possible. I just don't see them bringing this car out with less than 490 or 500 horsepower. It makes zero sense to make the same power as the other vehicles. So that's what I say. That's what I'm going to stick to that. And if they bring it back with 480 or 485, shame on them. And I just, will be disappointed, but I don't think it's going to be like that. I think Ford's smart enough to know how to sell their Mach1 properly, just like history repeats itself. Maybe it's more bolt-ons, most likely. Not sure how they're going to do it, but we'll find out. It could be with a GT350 with a 10-speed, call it the Mach1. That's possible. It's really hard to say on the transmission, but the Mach1 last time had 40 more horsepower than the Bullitt did. So we're going to have to see if that's the case, but it's looking like that it's going to be the same situation. Maybe this Mach1 might have a shaker and it might have the Bullitt engine, like the bolt-ons from the Bullitt and the PP2 Mustang with a shaker on top. And maybe they're going to change a little something else or add more bolt-ons, maybe a bigger throttle body. And maybe it makes 505, maybe 510. But like I said, I truly believe we're very much looking at a 500 horsepower Mustang. That's almost for sure. 510 horsepower would be nice. I don't think it'll be 510. I think it's going to be 505 or 500. Those are the two numbers that we're looking at. And I'm just hoping that Ford does it. And hoping you guys enjoyed this update. I really wanted to touch base on the Mach1. I got a message from a guy that works out that way a couple of days ago about the Mach1, but I had questions for him, and I wanted to go over those questions before I made the video. So definitely, that's what I'm hoping for. And if they brought it back at 505 horsepower, the shaker, I'd consider down the road at getting one when it came out. I really would, but it would have to be 505 or 500. It makes the most sense. Plum Twister Larry in the house. What's up, Larry? Appreciate you stopping in, bro. I'm going to do my outro right now, and then we're going to hang out for a bit, do some Q&A. So if you guys are watching this video and you're not a part of the live stream currently right now, I want to thank you guys for stopping in to do this video. Take care. Have a great night. I will see all of you guys on the next upload.